The art of deception. The city never sleeps. It's a living, breathing organism, pulsating with life and chaos. Amongst its veins of asphalt and steel, secrets linger in the dark corners, and whispers of betrayal and crime resonate through the night. I've always been drawn to these shadows, a moth to the flame. My name is Marcus, and I am the orchestrator of one of the most meticulously planned heists this city has ever seen. It started with a painting, a beautiful, haunting piece by an artist long dead but still revered. The Lament was its name, and it hung in the prestigious Belgrave Museum. I'd spent years perfecting my craft, honing my skills in smaller jobs, always under the radar, always one step ahead of the law. But the Lament was my masterpiece, the pinnacle of my career, and the culmination of years of planning. The museum was a fortress, state-of-the-art security systems, guards patrolling every corridor, cameras covering every angle. But every fortress has its weaknesses, and I had spent months studying them, finding the cracks in the armor. It was all about timing, precision, and deception. I assembled a team of experts, each the best in their field. There was Alex, the tech genius who could hack into any system, Julia, the master of disguise and deception, and Sam, the muscle, who could handle any physical obstacle. We were a well-oiled machine, each cog essential to the operation. We met in the basement of an old warehouse, our hideout and planning headquarters. Blueprints of the museum covered the walls, notes and plans meticulously detailed. Every possible scenario had been considered, every contingency planned for. We would strike on the night of the annual gala, when the museum would be filled with guests, and the security would be stretched thin. The night of the heist, I felt a familiar rush of adrenaline as we made our final preparations. Julia had secured invitations for all of us. Our disguises perfect. I was an art collector, Julia my glamorous date, Alex and Sam our security detail. We blended in seamlessly, just more faces in the crowd. The gala was a grand affair, the city's elite mingling, sipping champagne, and admiring the art. We moved through the crowd with practiced ease, making small talk, pretending to admire the exhibits. But our eyes were always on the prize, the painting that hung in the main gallery, under the watchful eyes of security. As the night wore on, we moved into position. Alex disappeared into the back rooms, hacking into the security system, looping the camera feeds, and disabling the alarms. Julia and Sam created a diversion, a staged argument that drew the attention of the guards, giving me the window I needed. I slipped away, moving through the shadows, my heart pounding in my chest. The corridors were empty, the cameras blind to my presence. I reached the main gallery, the painting looming before me. The Lament was even more beautiful up close, its dark hues and melancholic tones a stark contrast to the bright, sterile environment of the museum. I carefully removed the painting from the wall, placing it in a specially designed case that would protect it during our escape. The timing had to be perfect. I could hear the commotion from the gala, the guards distracted by Julia and Sam's ruse. I slipped back into the crowd, the painting safely hidden, and made my way to the exit. We regrouped in the alley behind the museum, our hearts racing with exhilaration. The heist had gone off without a hitch, our meticulous planning paying off. We made our way to the hideout, where Alex had already prepared our escape route. The painting was secure, our identities still a mystery, but the real challenge was yet to come. Stealing the painting was one thing, but selling it was another. We couldn't just sell it to the highest bidder. It had to be done discreetly, through the right channels. We had contacts in the black market, people who knew how to move such valuable items without attracting attention. As the days passed, we watched the news with a mix of satisfaction and caution. The heist was all over the headlines, the city in shock at the audacity of the crime. The police were baffled, the museum officials humiliated. They had no leads, no suspects, just a stolen painting and a lot of questions. We lay low, keeping our heads down, waiting for the heat to die down. It was a tense time, but also a thrilling one. We had pulled off the perfect crime, and now it was just a matter of time before we could reap the rewards. But as the days turned into weeks, I began to feel a sense of unease. The painting was hidden in a safe place, but it felt like a ticking time bomb. Every knock on the door, every unexpected phone call set my nerves on edge. We had planned for every contingency, but the reality of living with a stolen masterpiece was more stressful than I had anticipated. Then, one night, everything changed. We were in the hideout, discussing our next move, when the door burst open, and a group of armed men stormed in. They were not police, but they were just as dangerous. Mercenaries, hired by someone with deep pockets and a lot of power. They had come for the painting, and they were not leaving without it. We fought back, but we were outnumbered and outgunned. Alex was the first to fall, a bullet to the chest. Julia and Sam were taken down next. Despite their best efforts, I was left alone, staring down the barrel of a gun. The leader of the mercenaries, a tall, imposing man with a cold, calculating gaze, stepped forward. "Give us the painting," he demanded, his voice devoid of emotion. I had no choice. I led them to the hidden compartment where the painting was stored, my mind racing with thoughts of escape and revenge. They took the painting, leaving us battered and broken, but alive. It was a hollow victory. We had pulled off the perfect heist, only to lose everything in the end. The next few days were a blur. We buried Alex, mourned our losses, and tried to figure out our next move. The painting was gone, and with it, our dreams of a big payday. But more than that, we had been betrayed. Someone had known about our plans. Someone with enough power to send mercenaries after us. I spent countless hours going over every detail, trying to figure out where we had gone wrong. Who had betrayed us? Was it one of our contacts? Someone in the black market? Or had one of us made a mistake? Let something slip? It was Julia who found the answer. She had been going through Alex's things, looking for clues, when she found a series of emails. They were coded, but she recognized the patterns. Alex had been in contact with someone who had promised him a bigger cut, more money. He had been playing us all along. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. Alex, my friend and partner, had been the traitor. He had sold us out, and it had cost him his life. I felt a mix of anger and betrayal, but also a strange sense of relief. At least now we knew the truth. With Alex gone, and the painting lost, there was nothing left for us here. We decided to go our separate ways, each of us starting fresh, trying to put the past behind us. But the city never forgets, and neither do I. Years passed, and I built a new life, a new identity. But the memories of that night, of the heist and the betrayal, never left me. I kept tabs on the art world, watching for any sign of the lament. It never surfaced, at least not publicly, but I knew it was out there, a ghost haunting the shadows. One day, I received a letter, no return address, just a single sheet of paper with a simple message. "We have unfinished business." It was signed with a symbol I recognized, a mark used by the mercenaries who had taken the painting. I knew what it meant. They had found me, and they wanted something. I didn't know what, but I was ready. I had spent years preparing, waiting for this moment. The city might never sleep, but neither do I. The game was far from over, and this time, I was determined to win. The letter had led me to a nondescript building on the outskirts of the city, the kind of place that blends into the background, easily overlooked. I approached cautiously, every sense on high alert. Inside, the air was thick with tension, the walls echoing with the whispers of long-forgotten secrets. The leader of the mercenaries, the same cold, calculating man from before, was waiting for me. He hadn't aged a day, his eyes still as piercing as ever. "Marcus," he greeted me, a hint of a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "I knew you would come. What do you want?" I demanded, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions raging inside me. He gestured to a chair, inviting me to sit. "We have a proposition for you," he said, his tone smooth and measured. "An opportunity for redemption, if you will." I remained standing, my eyes locked on his. "I'm not interested in redemption," I replied coldly. "Just tell me what you want." He leaned back, studying me for a moment before speaking. "The painting," he said simply. "The lament. We want it back." I frowned, confusion mingling with suspicion. "You already have it," I said. "Your men took it from us that night." He shook. "The art of deception."